Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for joining. This is episode number 4 of the Getting Uncomfortably Comfortable podcast, which we decided, which you have now found out what the name is. So,
always the last to know. It's fine.
trust me, you're not going to be the last to know. So, we are going to introduce Kerry today. Kerry is a wee dynamo, is probably the best description I can offer you, but has been through a very, very significant journey over the last couple of years, both training, personally, food, family, lots of stuff. And we're going to talk about that journey, how everything intersects, and some of the really big, scary things that she has coming up. So, my lovely, beautiful Kerry, introduce yourself to us.
My name is Kerry Stewart and I'm from Airdrie. I am a mum of one awesome wee toddler and I'm a wife as well and I'm a teacher. So,
teacher is probably a very, very, very downplayed version.
So I am an autism teacher. So I'm part of a build capacity within mainstream schools. So for young people to access mainstream education.
Exactly. Yeah. Huge work. Mm-hmm. Lots of emotions.
Yep.
Lots of mental space taken up. Mm-hmm. Lots and lots. A very downplayed version is to say the word teacher.
Yeah.
So what we're going to talk about on today's episode with Kerry's journey is we're going to touch on a few really significant things. So we're going to touch on PT and how it evolves over time for individual people. We're going to talk about breaks in lots of different things, whether it be food, whether it be training, whether it be personal and professional breaks. And we're going to talk about a lot of the challenges that you've dealt with in regards to previously learned habits and behaviours and how we try as best as possible to navigate all those changes all at once when life doesn't stop. Mm-hmm. You know, we still deal with all that emotion of what you do for a living. We still deal with the emotion of having a toddler and the lifestyle of having a toddler. Mm-hmm. Being technically, to an extent, sometimes a single mum because your hubby works away. Mm-hmm. And all of those intersect with all of that. So when you started with Alpha, what was your experience before that in training and PT?
So I've always been a really physical young lady through high school, did lots of PE, higher PE, always went to exercise classes, went to uni, my weight peaked, but just did the traditional weight loss things under the guidance of what my mum knew best and what my aunties knew best and things like that. So there was lots of behaviours and traits that I'd taken on that I thought was the right way and right thing to do. But I am a girl that has a big appetite.
Correct.
and likes to have lots of fun, and that doesn't incorporate all that. Very short, quick fixes. So then there was COVID and I had my wee boy, he's 3.5. So pre-COVID, I wasn't a mum. COVID happened, I was a mum. Exactly. And then the world opened up again.
Hugely different lifestyle.
And I loved being pregnant and loved being a mum and being a boy, but sorry, I'm getting all muddled up. But I felt trapped in my body and I knew that I needed my fitness back. And I got there. But I wanted to compete again.
Yes.
I wanted to feel strong again.
Yes.
I wanted to own the space because I knew I had that capability, but I just didn't know how to get there.
Yeah.
And then I went along to one of Vanda's Sunday Sweat Fests and she gave me a few adjustments and it made it 100 times harder. Yes, and I was like, oh, I've been doing this wrong for 15 years. So, yeah, that's when I knew. I said, right, I need to do some learning here and some groundwork.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And for a lot of the time that you spent in PT, it was a lot of that for you because there was a lot of stuff that you had in that history which was really quite cemented. Wasn't it? And one of the first things that we ever tried to break through was the food element of the just taking calories down and trying to eat nothing just didn't work for you. And you, as you say, have a very big appetite. You do a lot. You expel an awful lot of energy, both mentally and physically every day. But you have a very sweet tooth, don't you?
I do, especially when there's a lot of emotional pressure from work. And as Vanda mentioned, my husband works away, so once I come home from work, I'm then in mum mode.
Yes.
So you're not even getting that bit of breathing space where you can kind of compartmentalise everything.
Yep.
So it would kind of get to 8 o'clock at night, and my wee boy's a night owl, so prior to mum life, I could easily go to my bed at 8 o'clock at night.
Yes.
Because I can get up early in the morning. I'm a morning person, but I was sitting at night for those 2 hours, and the only thing that would kind of regulate me was those sweet, sugary snacks, and then that was taking me out of deficit. But also what I've learned with Alpha Coaching and Vanda PT is that you don't need to be in a deficit all the time to get results.
24/7.
No, so it's just about all those peaks and troughs and push and pulls and how to organise them.
Yes.
And knowing that you're still working towards your goals. That's probably been the biggest groundbreaking.
It's been massive for you, hasn't it? And it
Mm-hmm.
is that way. And I just, the reason I wanted to touch on that is I think there's a lot of people that seem to believe that being in that space where they're just expelling hundreds of energy all the time, taking the calories down, that it's failure when they then reach for something at night because they're fucking starving.
But it's like as well what you taught me, it's putting stress on your body. A diet is stressful for your body.
It is.
Exercise is stressful. It's just, so it's like that. So through, we've been able to problem solve together, and I can only really do it for short amounts of time.
Yeah.
Like I have to have a really constrained amount of time. Training's no problem, but when it comes
Never
to
been an
food,
issue for you.
when it comes to food, if I've got a short goal in mind, I can manage it, but I don't like things to be too long term.
No. It becomes it becomes an additional stress for you when you've got something that's that lengthy. But there is that point where your week is very compartmentalised between work.
I've got 3 different routines.
Life,
yeah.
Weekend life,
Yeah.
where you then are in a space where you're a 2-parent household with the way in some weekends. Then
You need
there's
that
other ones that you're
flexibility.
not.
Yep.
Then you've got work days. Then you've got days that you're not at work. You've got days that Lyle's in nursery, days that Lyle's not in nursery. And trying to navigate all of that on exactly the same plan was just never going to work for you.
No, and it doesn't give you that kind of flexibility of it's the emotional part for food with me. You shouldn't feel as if you can never go and have a bit of coffee and a slice of cake with your friend. And it's just about how to strategically plan that into your week so you can still reach your goals.
Yeah. And do you feel much more comfort now around your overall nutrition, your intakes? And what do you think was the biggest light bulb moment for you when we walked through a lot of your problem solving?
Is how much calories that I can actually have.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was magazine culture when we were growing up, teenagers kind of in those 2000s, and it was the low calorie diets. I think that was a narrative that was implanted in my head, that you had to be eating the less amount to be the smallest version. But when I showed Vanda a picture of the physique that I actually liked, you actually have to grow.
There's a lot of growth there.
To get that, you have to eat a lot more, but that's high quality food. It's not just things that say high protein on the label, it's your real food. So it's that 80-20 rule, 80% of natural whole foods and then 20% of things that you enjoy are a bit more processed. And probably like what Vanda supported me emotionally through that is when you are growing and getting the physique that you want, your clothes do start to feel tighter. Even though you look leaner and smaller, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're a smaller size.
It's changing.
So
there's genuine change to your...
And that's scary for girls, I think, and women. But it's what's necessary to get that physique that you want.
Yeah. And I think what I love about you, though, is you've got a really good way to look at things with solid fact. Yes, you're also a highly emotional person. We both know that.
Yeah.
But what I love about you is that you are happy to really sit and understand the facts, the science behind something. And I think that's why you've grown so much and learned so much in the space of time, because you've taken the time to actually say, I don't know the answer to that, but I think I should know the answer to that. So, right, talk to me through it. But you ask the question back again, right, I don't understand that bit again, or like, I need to know more on that. And do you know what? I think too many people seem to think that PT is about just following a plan blindly. And it's just not how I want
my first 6 months being with you was sorry for being a pest, but but how can I make this better? How can I do that? Or I'm struggling with this bit. How can I break it down? And it's just, it is about using, it's getting the bang for your buck. It's a huge investment, and it's in yourself. I mean, it's an investment in yourself.
So make the most of it.
Exactly. Like,
and it's about, like you say, it's about being that, I'm sorry to be a pest, but I'm going to ask this again. And do you know what? Some things take 10 times to land, especially when, like you say, you've got magazine culture stuck in your head that constantly told you that, you know, like heroin chic
thigh
was
gap
a thing,
and
thigh
ribs.
gaps.
Yep.
Do you know what? It's okay to see someone's ribs. No, not so much. Like, is that a healthy way to look? You know, we've got all this circling round that drain in our lifestyle as women that we've grown up with. And myself and Kerry are the same age. And honestly, I think most of us in our kind of later 30s, early 40s, we were so ingrained in like Slimming World, Weight Watchers, Scottish Slimmers, like basically telling us that standing on a scale and being smaller should be celebrated and nothing else. Like, we as women, we didn't need to have a fucking bicep that stood out to people. We should just think about being smaller. And it was such a big turning point, I think, for us. We had a session at one point and you were like, look at my quads. And I was like, and you smiled at it rather than being like demeaned.
It's the amount of people that come up when I'm training, because I train in different places, and they come up and they're like, compliment like my arms or my legs, and I'm like, I remember being that girl that would go up to somebody and say, wow, well done, and like, how did you do that? And I'm thinking, oh, that's happening to me now. And it's like, so it's, you might not see the progress in the work, but other people will start to notice the difference.
Sometimes it's harder to see it on yourself than it is to see it on someone else. And I think a lot of those changes for you have then meant that you've had some really groundbreaking moments with like what you feel training is.
That's the next thing I was going to mention, Vanda. Like, so in my head, it's like I had it before I was with Alpha Coaching, was that it had to be hell for leather, 24/7, run in the morning, like the go hard, go home, and and actually working with Vanda, it's made it more manageable for my lifestyle. I maybe do 2 cardio sessions a week, and then the rest is strength and my steps, and it's just, and the difference is unbelievable in how I look, and it's just less exhausting. It's more manageable and less overwhelming. Absolutely,
because I think that's the thing, that people always assume that they're going to get thrown into these big massive overwhelming programs that suddenly they can't do anything else apart from spend time in the gym.
Don't get me wrong though, you lift heavy,
and it's about making use of your time that you spend. I mean, I remember I was going to the gym the very first time that we went together just to go, and you were like, I don't know how I feel about this, because I'm really not used to being with someone that lifts so much heavier than me, and I'm really trying to keep up. And I'm like, don't try and keep up, just what's your intensity, and like, where do we need to be? But I think there is that culture that is out there that people seem to think that they're going to join a coaching program like this and suddenly they're going to have to be lifting and doing.
I remember doing the insanity programs because I thought that's what I needed to be tiny, and it was like all that in the morning at 5 a.m, and Vanda's like, Kerry, you need to sleep.
You need sleep, baby.
You need 8 hours. You need 8 hours sleep. How much water are you drinking? What's your food? Because that, if you don't have those foundations and pillars in place, you can't lift heavy.
You're just not going to get what
your nervous system,
what you're personally looking for. So let's touch on Crystal.
Oh, I've not spoken about her in a while. So, she's a secret.
Kerry loves to push the boundaries.
I do.
And Kerry made a decision some weeks ago to take a bit of a step back from PTing.
Yep.
Because she wants to do Hyrox Pro and had signed up for it and wanted to take everything she'd learned and see where her now new shiny alter ego can get herself.
Yes.
So why do we have an alter ego?
I've done, with Alpha coaching and everything, the support, the community and the support network is awesome. And actually, like Vanda mentioned before, I like to know why. Why do I do things? Why do I do this? What experiences have I had? Just behaviour really interests me. Especially in those knee-jerk moments.
We love to dissect them.
Yeah, when autopilot takes over and you take a step back. So the first book that I read was Girls Stop Apologising. So when you write your steps, just listen to a podcast. It's helpful. So there's lots of things that were helpful within my daily life that I tried to implement with them. And the second book that I read was, it was a book about self-sabotage. And it's You Are the Mountain, I think it's called. And it was just basically how limiting beliefs that people have. And as Vanda's mentioned, I'm quite a soft person, apart from in the gym.
Oh my God. This is where the alter ego, I think, comes in. And I'm sure that she's going to touch on this in a minute.
That is when I kind of I don't think about other people's feelings. I'm there in the workout. I want to be the fastest. I want to be the strongest. And so this book spoke about how everybody has like a perceived idea of where they should be and what lots of awesome people have done in the past, pioneers, if they've came up with an alter ego, because they don't believe that they can do it. And I really related that, because I don't think that we, Kerry from Airdrie, might be able to do this, but I kind of made up this alter ego who I think will thrive doing it. And this is my debut. So I've dabbled in open Hyrox, and then Vanda supported me doing a open sim, and I surprised myself with how well I did. You did. But it was hard and there was lots to work on, and that's what we've been doing.
It is.
So the reason why I chose to take a step back is because, as I mentioned, I'm really sensitive and soft, and that's a superpower in my job.
It is.
Because it has been a mum and things like that, but other people's problems kind of take over, and it comes more about trying to support them. So I just wanted to be a bit selfish for a wee while.
We needed to be Crystal for a while.
Yeah, a bit. But Vanda's awesome because she didn't tell me to beat it.
And this is the thing. That's exactly it. You know, there is... And lots of people will talk about seasons and reasons and all that kind of stuff, and we can get into all the sappy element of that, and that's all fine and dandy. But I think what people really need to understand is that when we talk about those seasons and reasons, we have to be doing them for the right purpose. And that was the difference. When you came to me and you were like, right, I know where my head is going. I am trying to problem solve everyone else in the world's problems.
Yep.
Because right now,
because that's my default.
What's happening is I am defaulting to, Kerry can't do this, but I can solve that other person's problems, so fuck it. Yeah. I'm going to do that instead. She's like, so do you know what? I think I need to zone down. Is your camera still on?
Yeah.
That's fine. I need to zone down from having a community that I feel so ingrained in that I want to be in that space. And that's where I think Crystal, with the wee alter ego, came out and went, no, we need to be slightly more selfish all over again right now in order for us to really succeed at this. So do you know what? This is a really clear-cut way to do it. Yeah. And it was absolutely the right reason for you in this space and time.
Because when you're on that Hyrox field, you're yourself.
You're doing individual. You're not doing a pair. You're not doing a relay. You are going to be on your own on that field. And
no one's coming to save you.
The only person you're trying to be is that Kerry from Airdrie.
Yeah.
That is currently telling herself, no, I can't.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's, so that was the reason why I decided to take a step back, because I felt as if Vanda's told me and taught me and shown me the way, and it's up to me. Yeah. Like, there comes to a point where you think, right, I can't have him holding my hand now.
It's about ownership and accountability and responsibility.
Yep. So, but it's a bit of a comfort because a couple of the other guys are going and Vanda's coming along to support. So I've still got my friends there, which is awesome. But yeah, just it was a bit of a time to be quite selfish and
just a little bit more selfish in a different way.
Yeah,
you know, to a lot of the time I'll say to people, like, you need to be involved with PT because that's your way of being selfish. Because they're not implementing anything in their lifestyle with themselves at that point in time in their family life. But that's the difference for you at that point in time. The most selfish thing to do is to take a step back from a community that you would default to support, and
it's about trusting yourself
accountability for you
as well. It's like I know a lot of people maybe worry that they wouldn't push themselves as much in the gym, but you do. Once you get the feeling of that push, those last 2 reps, really having to push them out and struggle, and you feel DOMs the next day and things, you know that you've basically done your job. So.
Absolutely. And for you, if you're in that position and you're talking to that person who, I think there's probably 2 camps of people I think we want to talk to in this space. We've got camp 1 of people that's maybe considering taking a break from PT because they genuinely feel like they maybe can do it on their own. And then I think there's camp 2 that just aren't feeling motivated and are like, do you know what, because I'm not feeling motivated, maybe I should take a break. What would you say to both camps?
The people that think that they can do it on their own, brilliant, because I don't think it's like I see it in my job when I'm supporting people. It's like it's only meant to be for a short period of time. People aren't meant to be with you forever.
Yes.
Because you're supposed to empower them.
Exactly.
And this is what you do. This is the basic principles. This is how we fit it into your life. But I was transparent enough with Vanda to say, listen, I know that I'm going to come up against obstacles. I'll dip in and out. Different things like that if I'm needing to up my game, because there's experts around you, and that's what Vanda is. And it's so yeah, if you honestly feel that you're still going to keep up those, like, your routine,
if you can,
and your nutrition, and you're still tracking, and you're still being able to monitor yourself, then that's great, because that's basically, that's the goal. Yeah, that is where you want to be. The people that aren't as motivated to keep going, so the second camp, that's a tricky one, because I felt like that during, I was with Vanda intensely for over a year until I felt confidence to try it on my own, and it was the whole Hyrox thing, because I just felt as if I was in a different mind space from everyone else, and I didn't feel motivated all the time within that year, but I knew if I'd removed myself, I would find it harder to come back.
Agree.
So like an object in motion stays in motion.
100%.
So it's about knowing yourself and that push and pull. I love training, but when I got overwhelmed emotionally, or things just became too demanding, I knew within it's about having ranges.
Yes, absolutely.
So when you're feeling low, when your kids are sick, when different things are happening, if you have the bottom range that you can adhere to, that's still a success.
Yes, absolutely.
It's just about being flexible within yourself. But for me, it didn't work. It wouldn't have worked to remove myself.
Agree.
Because then I would have been like, I told you so.
Yeah, and absolutely. And the reason I wanted to touch on that is because I think it is just so important to understand that those 2 things aren't the same.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people assume that just because they're not feeling motivated about something, that it means that they're ready to go and do it on their own. But I think there's a lot of people that are potentially ready to do it on their own that just point blank won't accept that they can, and that they maybe just need that push to remember that there is a season for everything. And as you say, there's going to be a point in time you're going to hit some new goal that you want to go to, and you'll say, do you know what, can I jump back in for 2 months? And we'll be like, right, okay, let's go. Or can you just sort me out with A, B and C? Great. But there's also going to be times where exactly that, there's somebody sitting there and they're thinking, I'm just not motivated, so it means that I shouldn't do it. No, because no one's ever motivated through the whole thing. We're all going to have our good days and our bad days. But we just accept that it is what it is.
Just owning it.
As long as you're learning and as long as you're owning what you're doing, you are being fucking successful. Now, everyone's getting asked the same 2 questions to finish their fucking podcast off. So, question number 1. For all of the things that you have learned in your big ass journey, because you've had a big journey going from, I just shouldn't eat and that's how I'm going to lose weight, right the way through to I'm going to tank every session and just break my body. That's how I do it. Right the way through to realising that actually, do you know what, every day needs to be different for you. What's that one thing that if somebody's maybe starting the journey that you're like, just tell it to fuck off, just don't do it?
What do you mean, sorry? Don't do...
So that thing, what's that thing that you'd done for ages that now you're like, I couldn't abide by doing that ever again to get those results that you want to get?
Not eating carbs.
Oh, I love that. Fucking love a carb.
I used to be, like, just that restriction, any restriction, because if you're anything like me and you've restricted all day, you'll get to that witching hour and you'll eat the whole packet.
I love the fact that we called it the witching hour, because it feels like that, doesn't it?
It's just
it's
that
like a fog over the brain. Yeah.
And you can only say no. It's like what Vanda supports you with so much more than fitness and nutrition. It's like life management. So it's life like management. I get so over, like, see, in a crisis, I'm your girl.
Yes,
like,
you are.
I can sort through things. I can navigate, spin different plates. If I've got too much time to think about things or they last too long, I overthink. So
you pull the thread and it becomes enormous.
And I try to control too much and it becomes too much of a big deal. So it's even things like your brain can only make a certain amount of good decisions a day.
Yes.
So it's just about planning.
Yeah.
And it's even things like, so planning your protein first. Make sure you hit that protein target.
Sounds so simple, but so little people do it.
And then your carbs. Yep. So I like my porridge and I like my potatoes, and they're not demons. Like,
they're not.
And it's just, so have them in every day, and my wee chocolate mug cake or my wee hot chocolate. I used to say to myself, I can't eat after 6 o'clock.
Allow yourself.
I love a hot chocolate
in your food.
Once, like, and it's all these kind of habit stacking.
Yes.
Things that I enjoy doing. So I like a now and a next. So I'm doing this now and next we're going to do this. And it's all these kind of things that are just wee signifiers to your body that it's less stressful.
Yep.
So it's just don't restrict and think about how you can do this to make it more manageable long term. Yes. But if you're anything like me, don't think about long term. Take one day at a time.
It's only one day. It's only one day. It's only one day.
And just kind of think, right, how can I make this day really enjoyable? And for me, that's food. Yeah. I like tasty food.
Oh, we love our food, don't we?
So just don't restrict and try to make all of your decisions at a certain amount of time so you don't have to think about. But then I'm a nightmare for Vanda because I'll rebel.
Rebel.
So if I become too controlled, if I meal prep too much, I would admire these people. I love
that sweet spot for you. Your sweet spot's a couple of days.
3 days at a time.
Yeah.
Even with my clothes. So for Lyle, that's what I mean. It
good.
stems
Anything
out to
more
everything.
Than that is going to fall into a downward spiral.
Yeah. 3 days at a time. I'm okay with knowing what my lunches and dinners are and what I'm training.
And that just shows again the level that you've learned, that we took the time to learn that that's the case for you, and we implement it and we stick with it. Last question. You've got that person. They're sitting there, they are listening to you right now, and everything just resonates. Why should they pick up the phone and do something about it?
You'll not regret it. It's I've been with other PTs over 2 decades because I knew I wasn't getting something right. I knew that there was something missing, and I go through swings and roundabouts. Should I just be satisfied with where I am? And it wasn't until I worked with Vanda, and Vanda's like, you can be satisfied with where you are but still want a goal. And for me, that feeling strong and competing was something that I'll wake up as soon as I open my eyes. It's something that I think about every day that I want to be better at. Yeah. And if it's something that's annoying you every single day or something that you're not happy with, why not fix it?
Absolutely.
And it's like, if it makes you feel better, and I think it's just do it for a month, do it for 2 months, do it for 3 months, and you'll fall in love with the process. 100%. And like I said, it's not just food and nutrition and exercise, it'll actually make an impact on your wider life, with how you manage it for your health and well-being.
Because we're a bunch of nutters, but we make each other happy.
And reducing your stress overall, and about enjoyment, and Yeah, it's just if something's really niggling away at you every day, just fix it. Because see, when everybody's gone, your kids will grow up. You could get sacked from your job. Different thing, like it's you left in your body.
100%. And honestly, we're going to finish up on that exact comment. Guys, it is you in your body. If you, to Kerry's exact point, if you wake up every morning and that annoys you, you really need to think, right, okay, why am I accepting that? Why am I settling for that? And do something about it. And if you've been banging your head against a brick wall for the last however many years thinking that what you're doing is going to work and it never's working, it ain't going to fucking change tomorrow unless you change what you are inputting in that. And honestly, like I can say this hand on heart, guys, there is a lot of the times that I feel like the reason that alpha works for me, my guys, is we do feel the same. I have felt that way. I have cried in the mirror. I've cried in the fucking shower. I have put on the pair of trousers in a dressing room and come out and said that I don't like them to a friend, knowing full well it's the fact that I couldn't get them over my fucking arse. But I've also stood in the mirror and hated seeing my bones, you know, but you've got to do something.
But even away from that aesthetic aspect as well, it's that functional fitness. It's that being able
to run up a set of stairs, can't run for the bus,
take your messages out your car and put them away. It's that
be strong,
being able to pick up your dog, being able to pick up your wee kids or your grandchildren. It's a big deal.
It is. So guys, thank you very much to Kerry for sharing a great story. Very, very, very busy woman, very busy life, lots on the go, but lots of big goals. And I will update every single one of you when Crystal absolutely smashes Hyrox Pro. And then we realise that actually Crystal is Kerry from Airdrie and could do it all along. Yes. Absolutely. That has been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And let's look forward to a great update in October.
I know, 8 weeks.
8 weeks. 8 weeks.